Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Astrology and Beyond. Today, with your host, Tatiana. And I will be talking a little bit from the beyond again. And today, I wanted to address some important topics, well, mainly topic that we will be seeing really amp up in 2024. So I won't necessarily be talking about everything or all themes from 2024, but something that I wanted to speak about for a long time, which is the entry of Pluto in Aquarius. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard all kinds of things about Pluto in Aquarius, its entry, what it means. And if you haven't, well, that's great, because I'm going to give you a few themes or things that are going to be possibly producing some kind of insight. And I hope that's the case, because I have been, chewing on this topic since Pluto first touched in Aquarius last March. And we saw that was the week that ChatGPT was launched. And I have been following technology for a while, and I knew about generative AI, like art generative AI, for even before it was publicly launched, because I'm very curious and very in the technology and the arts, and I found that to be super interesting. So I had even signed for the beta of DALL-E 2 back when nobody even knew about it. So, and when it exploded into society, ChatGPT, generative AI, and this like speeding up of AI, and how all these themes are now starting to flood into our world. And so that's on the one hand, what was happening back then in March, when Pluto touched slightly into Aquarius, then went back to Capricorn, and now it's its last pass, and now it will be moving into Aquarius on January 20th of 2024, and it will stay there until March 8th of 2043. So that is about 20 years of Pluto in Aquarius. And as much as I don't think I'm going to be doing so much in depth about what this means, we don't know. It will be an unfolding of energies. There is definitely something brewing, and I would like to share my insights about how we can best start writing the intentions for this new phase of humanity's evolution. This is not like a small phase. Remember that Pluto moves through a whole cycle, 240 years. So it's not like in this lifetime, no one has seen Pluto in Aquarius. So we don't know what it feels like. But the general topics that we would always see with these kinds of planets, it would be like revolutionary changes, so that we might see changes in society, technology, things that we've never, ever witnessed before at a social level. There could be like a heightened stress, like emphasis on humanitarianism, innovation of all kinds, and like a speeding up of innovation and new ideas that we have never, ever even thought before. The disruption of systems, of ideas, the disruption of the whole fabric of society might be completely disrupted. And then the bringing of collectives together, and the way Pluto works. So let's begin with how Pluto works and why I'm making this video today and not on any other day, even though I've been thinking about this, because I was observing and watching lots of videos about life right now on the planet, about technology, a lot of technology. And I just watched this video called The Loneliness Epidemic by Cold Fusion, one of my favorite YouTube channels, and I'm not paid to endorse them, but I will leave a link below and the description, so if you feel like watching that, because this is what finally gave me the okay, this is important. Because in this video, to sum it up, like there has been a loneliness epidemic declared in 2017 that was kind of building up from the 60s, and after the baby boomers and just kind of exploded with Generation Z, which is our young people basically, that are completely, their brains are not even really connected to any kind of real human touch and interaction. And with the pandemic, this became even more obvious. And if you probably were not aware of it, what did happen in the pandemic with those things like social distancing, like, hello, in your consciousness, any words are spells. And people started being primed into these beliefs of distance and isolation. And this is where I'm like, okay, we and you here watching this are probably part of the solution to this. And again, is this a problem? No, let's not judge it as a problem. Let's just observe it as a circumstance of experience. I don't like to necessarily sound like, oh, I know everything and this is a problem that needs to be fixed. I think it's more like this is an experience we're having as a collective. And is this the experience we want to have as humanity? So this loneliness epidemic obviously has a lot of the roots also in the expedited rise in technologies, and obviously our phones, our media, we're always here on this phone, on these devices, day in and day out, and we have lost actual physical touch, you know. And I've been watching also a lot of Joe Dispenza lately, and if you don't know who Joe Dispenza is, I really, really encourage you to just look it up and even watch one video. He is one of the leading top neuroscientists in the world who has been doing research, extensive research about the brain and the states of consciousness and being. He was in this movie called What the Bleep Do We Know? I saw this movie a long time ago, this documentary about quantum physics and the nature of reality. And this is the kind of Aquarian themes that a lot of people are going to come into. And I feel that it's kind of also part of my responsibility towards helping out, because I'm here in my room going, how else can I give information? And I am leveraging these platforms to spread information that I believe it will be helpful to our human being, to our connectedness, to our health in a society that seems to be decreasing in everything, in every single way. We are like losing our humanity, which is part of Pluto. Thank you, Pluto, for coming into the into the show and showing us how much we could be dehumanizing ourselves, which will obviously create a desire for transformation, because Pluto goes under the roots, the earth, and digs out all these shadows. And now we're going to be seeing the shadow of Aquarius, like it's in our face. Does it mean it has not been there before? No, it's been there. We have been having all this, has existed, loneliness, disconnection, but it has not been made evident. Now with Pluto entering Aquarius, this is where we're going to start seeing it as obvious, as like, oh my gosh, this is us. So we can actually make new choices. So things that Pluto will unearth. First, that like people making these things and being seen and shown how people are so lonely, so disconnected. Part of Aquarius is obviously this disconnection is part of the shadow of Aquarius, because Aquarius is an air sign. And if you haven't watched my video on the signs, I'll put it on the end or somewhere around here or there or somewhere. It will be for you to watch about Aquarius, its themes, its positive, let's say, manifestations, or its higher octave and its lower octave. So obviously Aquarius is all about the circularity and connectivity of systems, right? And I'm going to be very like Aquarian in the terminology, meaning everything is interconnected. Like, let's say a neural network, that's like it's connections that all are interrelated and interconnected. It's like the internet is an Aquarian manifestation, is an interconnection. Human connections and social fabrics, that's why we talk about the social fabric. Social fabric is like all these threads and knots and points. The economic trends in society, all of that, when it is connected like this, that is an Aquarian way of expression. This is why Aquarius is so tied to society and to then the ideas and ideals that keep society moving and keep it woven together. Communities are of the nature of Aquarius, because a community is a bunch of individual pieces that really work together, as opposed to Leo, which is the opposition, where something shines or is seen more as something that has its own individual expression. So in this video of the loneliness epidemic, you might see, it's interesting to see how the reason why we came to this shadow where people are so isolated is because of the individualistic nature. We kind of went to its polarity almost, where it's like fend for yourself and everyone for themselves, every man for themselves. But humans are not meant to be like that. We're not wired like that. So this is what this shadow with Pluto is going to show us. Like, how far do we want to go into this disconnected state? How far? And things I've been watching over this couple months, like, I don't know if you heard about this project that is literally creating wombs that are like in the Matrix, like literally, you know, that movie, The Matrix. If you haven't watched it, please watch it. So it's literally making babies in a fake pod, you know, with and I don't remember the name of the project, but you can actually look it up online. It's a real thing. It's not sci-fi. It's not a Brave New World, you know, Aldous Huxley. If you have not read that book, go read it. You know, it's not sci-fi. This is real 2023 things that people are actually doing. And they say that this will provide the capacity for people that can't give birth, or like mothers that are not fit or whatever, to have children. And you can change the genetic coding, you can change things in your baby. This is like all Brave New World stuff, sci-fi, it's here. And they really have this project going on. And you're like, wow, how artificial has that become? Like, we know that part of what makes us human, actual human, is the connection, the energetic connection to the mother, to the lineage, to the biology. Our biological self is part of our humanity. And by taking that almost away, that connection, and putting a biological cell, modifying it to fit some kind of ideal into a fake womb and make a baby out of it, what kind of psyche can that baby have where its connection to the source, to the mother, to the feelings, to the lineage is not there? I don't know. I wonder, is that an experience we want to have? And I get it. Some people might find that exciting because maybe they can't have children. And so I get it. There is a positive to every experience, but it also highlights like how messed up it can get to be if we take it really far. So that's just one example of the ones that I've been like, okay, this is going way too far. Now, other examples are like, and this is in that loneliness epidemic video, of this like influencers that are using chat bots, you know, of themselves, clones of themselves with AI, because now AI, if you have not been following AI and the developments of AI, it's amping up at a pace that you have no idea. I see already all these tools that are available that are super cool. And also you see people using them to their advantage to create even more separation, or, you know, create wealth. So there's this influencer that literally created a clone chatbot of themselves, again, to reach lonely people. They pay to talk to the bot, which is not even you. It's just a fake voice replicated. So it's not human. It doesn't have human energy. It doesn't have the love. It's just machine. You know, so things like that are part of that shadow of why this disconnection is happening. So, you know, what AI is doing, and it's, again, it's not that it's something that's being evidenced now. Obviously there's this massive progress in all kinds of things. We're very close apparently to nuclear fusion, which would create, you know, possibility for like massive like breakthroughs in energy. And the thing is, like, the thinking that we have today, it's we can't really know what Pluto and Aquarius will be bringing at a collective level, because it's something we've never seen. So I can be speaking today at like what themes or what things could happen, but again, we don't know. We might be also opening up to, again, Pluto is just showing us all of that shadow to see how now the positives, how we can empower ourselves to look at that and say, do we really want to continue down this route where there's more disconnection, more loneliness? You know, VR headsets now that Google and all these companies are launching their goggles where you can see these other realities and things, and you can be interfacing with VR. And even, you know, the question is, are we going to be even more disconnected even from our own physical bodies, because our brains are going to be having all the activity, let alone the amount of anxiety? And this is why I've been also watching Joe Dispenza, who's explaining brilliantly how the brain works and how we can get back to our own consciousness and retrain and repattern our whole brain to create any experience. The experience of our life is not, you know, we're not victims of the reality outside of ourselves. We create the reality from our thinking. And I've been saying this for a long time, but if you don't know about this, I think it's important that you understand these concepts so we can actually move forward with understandings that are, again, of an Aquarian nature, understandings, epiphanies, and awakenings. So this is the good news. The good news from Pluto entering Aquarius and staying for good is also the capacity to empower ourselves, the collective transformation. But based on what? Based on seeing what we don't want to evolve through. Like, this is dead, this is gone, we can't keep going down that route. Do we want this? Or are we going to start fostering new social connections, a different fabric that is based on community building? It's based on it's back to this, to the body. It's back to the connections of real people meeting in real places. And again, in that video, it was shown like this village in Japan where people live for hundreds of years because they have no stress and they always are in community, and you see them dancing, singing together, being together, and being and having friends, actual friends, compassion, gratitude, all of these things that are, well, we can say it's cheesy, it's cliche, it's all new agey, but come on, people, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, this cheesy things that we might think is, oh, you know, kumbaya. Well, this is what inherently will give us back our humanity that is getting lost. So, and again, it doesn't matter. I can be speaking from a little bit of my opinion of it, which again is a personal perspective. And I would like to strip the judgment about it, about whether it's good or bad, to the best of my ability, which again, I'm human and I have my little ego and my own perspectives. However, my perspective is, don't we want to live stress-free, happy, connected to our purpose, knowing that we all are valuable? And this is part of the highest level of Aquarius, is that every piece, it's so unique that every single human has all in their being to be of such value to the world. There's no one person that is not valuable. It's the belief that we're not valuable. It's the belief that we have nothing to give to the world that has probably taken us to a place as a humanity where a lot of people feel like if you're not doing what everybody else is doing, or what technology is doing, or what the government is saying, or what the teachers are saying, or whatever the everybody, the sheeple, you know, if you're not the sheeple, then who are you? You lose your identity. So the beautiful thing of Aquarius is it's reclaiming your unique identity. But first, before we're out there, we need to come back in and say, who am I? Strip yourselves from all the gunk, the information, the beliefs of everybody else, including me, all those beliefs, even astrology, I don't care. Like, strip yourself down to the core and find yourself, because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm stripping myself. When you come and go, wow, who am I? How do I belong in this world? Belonging is a big theme, and I'm working on that theme of belonging really strongly. When we start telling ourselves, really, in the deep depths of our core, I belong. And this is something I encourage you to do right now. Say it with me. I belong. And if you're feeling resistance, like, oh my gosh, this is so awkward, it feels in my body, then chances are you have, like me, that thing where belonging feels itchy. But I say again, I belong. I belong on this planet. I belong in my family. I belong in my community. I belong in my group of friends. I belong here. Not only I belong, I am loved in this belonging. This is something that I really encourage you to say out loud every day as a mantra. I belong, especially if you feel that you are one of those people that feel that you just don't belong, you don't fit in. You want to be yourself with your quirky personality or your serious personality or your excited personality or your intense personality, and you somehow don't fit in because you're you. So this is a big call, huge call for that awakening, to realize that in this Aquarian paradigm, there's nobody like you, no one. No matter how you are, what your circumstances, you are unique. And that uniqueness has something to add to the world. Whatever that is, whether you're doing something giant or something really little, doesn't matter the size of your contribution to life. Just by being you, there you have it. You are contributing to life. And that knowingness is what's going to help us change and engage with this new age coming, with this new shift in paradigm. So if you have anything that really is precious to you, start expressing it. So this is where I give you some tips. Start expressing it. Express your uniqueness. Find a way to express it, and then people might find you and resonate. This era of air Aquarius, it's about vibration and frequency matching, right? This is what's happening. So when you're you in your most authentic frequency, you'll be matching with things and experiences, and then you will be feedbacked by your creation of your reality, what you are. So if you're still thinking that you're not valuable, that you have nothing to offer, well, your reality will show you that at ever increasing rates. So why bother, when you know that you could be really reaching into the best version of you, of your beautiful being, and go, I am this, I am valuable, I have something to offer, I belong to this earth. And then when you start expressing that, then you start meeting people and shifting your reality around you and creating a reality that really suits the highest and best version of you. So this is how I encourage you to use this energy of Pluto, because Pluto will show us all the dysfunction of our communities, our social fabric, the disconnection that's happening, also the shadows of having technology advance at ridiculous paces with maybe not a consideration of the impact. It's so fast, that the impact, especially when Uranus moves into Gemini, is gonna go boom, where is our psyche even ready to understand the power and the magnitude of these new ideas flooding our world, from going to Mars, thank you Elon, to And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm just saying, going like conquering space again at levels that we have never thought before, maybe having encounters with intelligence from other places in the universe, having more real encounters through frequency matchings. Like, who knows? All of this is part of those things that are going to be probably being experienced in our world. Now, remember, also astrology is interesting because astrology will also be kind of very prominent this time around as people discover more the value of astrology and how understanding these frequencies that the planets, which are consciousnesses, all these planets, you know, they have their own electromagnetic fields, and those electromagnetic fields connect to us through invisible fields of frequencies, and that's how the planets talk to us. And our decoder in the brain might pick up those signals of why a transit is so impactful in our lives, and we don't know why. The transit's there, something happens, and we say, oh yeah, this is woo-woo, it's just, you know, some sci-fi or whatever. But in reality, there is much more that we don't understand, even in astrology. And I believe also that even the pseudoscience of astrology will be also evolving. So even what I'm saying now might not even apply that much more, because there might be higher levels of understanding as we move beyond this third dimensional thinking into higher frequencies. Maybe astrology itself will start dissolving, meaning it will only be a guide to just talk to the planets. I mean, just sense energy fields so we can make choices in a very informed, awake way. So astrology itself, obviously, it's not deterministic. It's not saying this is what's going to happen to you, but it will be more and more almost like a blueprint that you can easily transcend. Almost like, okay, this is the blueprint. I see why I chose this. I understand. I can easily transcend this because I can change and shift my whole existence. Even my being, I can change who I am just by thought alone and by rewiring my brain. And again, this is a lot of Joe Dispenza talk that I encourage you to watch, because that man is kind of changing the world as it is right now by the wisdom and the tools that are practical. They're not just information, it's practical tools like meditating and understanding how our biology is made to change all of our reality. And with that scientific understanding and with very practical tools of how to do this, people, there is no excuse. There really isn't any excuse for victimhood or the world is a bad place and it's in war and the world is shitty and it's everything out there. Like, I guess this is the major point that Pluto is going to be starting to help us, of course, with other transits, is to awaken ourselves to those realizations. Like, I am being awakened cyclically, constantly, and going, yes, okay, yeah, I get it, of course. And this is why I encourage you to go to those places of your own true authentic self. And with the, Pluto also gives us empowerment, is this energy, is raw to actually awaken. Okay, and we say, I see this word, awaken. What the hell is awaken? Okay, here is how I put awakening. There is patterns, subconscious behaviors that you just do. This is who I am. This is my personality. This is my life. I cannot see myself. I have no self-awareness. I am that way, and there's no observation. The awakening is just that process that suddenly separates a part of your being into an observer. And many mystics, if you've read any books of any mystics or any, from Jesus to Buddha to whoever, Saint Germain, Thoth, like any of these mystics, the Hermetic principles, like all of that, any of those ancient texts, there's always this talk about this. There is an observer. This observer, it's what we call the meta level. It's not your low, you down here with your little personality and your little problems, which is kind of the ego mind. this meta suddenly starts observing. It becomes the observer like this. And you're able to self-observe and go, oh, this is how I behave. Sometimes it is useful to ask people, how do you see me? Because that's a beautiful way of and of course, find people that you trust and you love, and that you can receive feedback from, because the way people see us a lot of the time is parts of ourselves that we don't always see. So if you don't have that meta level yet developed, asking friends and people to start reflecting back to you. So you go, oh, I am like that. Then you can, with humility and love and compassion towards yourself, say, okay, I can see myself. I want to see why a person would be saying that about me. Am I really behaving this way? When do I do these things? And that's when you start developing self-awareness, meta, awakening. That's the awakening. Oh, I can self-observe. And when we have self-observation, we have the capacity to actually change our thoughts and change our being. Literally change. And when we talk about Pluto in Aquarius, and, you know, basically Pluto and the planet of transformation, Uranus, the planet of radical change and evolution, and awakening, what happens when these planets are having so much impact in our collective psyche is that's what happens. Like I told you, they are broadcasting frequencies from wherever in the universe, and we are tied to them. And this is the understanding of the Aquarian paradigm, is everything is tied together. Everything. Nothing is really separate. That's why quantum physics is so like spooky, right? Because something here has an impact on something here at the same time. And there's like, how is that possible, right? Again, science will have immense breakthroughs in quantum computing and quantum this and quantum that. And we're seeing it already. So it's nothing new. It's just that it's going to skyrocket and be shown. Also, Pluto will uncover the themes of all those hidden technologies that were like maybe in the makings, you know. So disclosure around all kinds of technological things, from free energy to space travel to who knows what other things. I don't know, because it will be disclosed in time. And there's already been lots of disclosures around extraterrestrial intelligence. And that's kind of like, yeah, of course, you know, this is obviously coming. As part of that awakening, that we're not really just alone here in our little planet, that everything really has a connection to the cosmos, and Aquarius is connected to cosmic consciousness. So I am kind of excited in the sense that is like this newness. And this is why I am really encouraging you to go that route, the route of self-awakening. Do it with even if you're in your darkest moment, because what happens with Pluto, we might see the darkest things. But in that darkest moment, that's when the consciousness, the elevated consciousness that we all have, all humans, even the most disconnected human, has a spark in themselves. And that's part of that Aquarian thing, is like, if we can reach out and bridge, like a little neuron, reaching another neuron to say, hey, I'm connecting. That might spark somebody. So anything you can do to connect to others with empathy, with love, with compassion, first for yourself. Remember, if you don't know who self is, very hard to connect outside. Do that for yourselves. Get that awareness. Then start reaching out. If you are a community builder like I am, I encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. You know, don't give up, even in the midst of all this impending like social, like technological control and social control, or impending, let's say, dangers, which is kind of part of that shadow of Aquarius, that there might be so much control through technology and stuff. Well, you know what? We have agency. We have absolute agency over our whole existence. That's called sovereignty. And we are moving into that. If you're choosing that route, you're choosing the route of sovereignty, which will, of course, we might see this in the world fabric as massive disruptions and massive, people going F all this, and just, it could be chaotic. But what I'm saying is, it doesn't have to be chaotic if right now we're not like fearing the war, fearing this, fearing that. If we're right now changing from inside, we are taking the high route, simple. And the high route is who am I? Who can I reach physically? What is the friends, the people, the communities that are around you that you can actually reach out to and start connecting at deeper levels? Not the levels of superficial, how's the weather, but the levels of, who are you, human? Why are you here? What's going on with you? What's your world like? That deep connection is what's going to start creating these massive support networks that will reestablish. I don't know, I probably talk in this channel about, like, I'm a dance teacher, and I'm a dance instructor, and I teach partner dancing. And when I saw this Loneliness Epidemic video, I was like, oh my gosh, now I get it. Why it's so important what I'm doing, not only giving you videos here, but wow, it's so important to help people connect to each other and dance together, regardless of gender or who's leading, who's following. It's like, it's so basic. It's this connection, like like the Michelangelo thing with the Sistine Chapel, boom, God connecting to human. That's kind of a little bit of that. That's the image that just popped into my mind. That is the highest way we could experience this new transition into the new era, where it could be messy. It could be, we could see the low of the lowest in all of these themes. And we are also the light. You seeing this video are ahead of everything that you will probably be seeing by the unconsciousness, because planets just show things, and it will show the unconsciousness of Aquarius. You here, my friend, are the consciousness going, we have choice. I can be more connected to others, to my body. This, yeah, it's useful, it's great, with moderation. Moderation is key. With social media, with the computers, with all of that. Yes, I use YouTube. Why? Because that's how I connect to a broader audience. So thank you, YouTube. Gratitude for YouTube and these platforms, and for all that have created these platforms. Maybe even a comment from you. I know you're somewhere out there. And I encourage you to connect to real people in their flesh and see where they are, what you can do together. And this will start bringing the new transformation that Pluto in Aquarius is also wanting to bring. It wants to bring the transformation of the social fabric. How are we transforming it? Towards more control, or towards more connection, love, compassion, and awakening? It's in your hands, and it's in my hands. It's in all of our hands. There's no longer a government out there or a daddy figure. That's Capricorn saying, I'm going to take care of you. No, we all take care of ourselves and each other. And that's how we start doing this. And chances are we're going to be seeing these beautiful connections happening. Now, another danger, when we are creating these subgroups, or you'll see lots of, places where there's community building and smaller communities and tribes finding each other like little cells. Now, another thing to be aware of is that we might also see the shadow of that. What is the shadow of that? Tribes coming together. That then one tribe might feel like they're so special, especially, and this is to caution, like spiritual, culty kind of things, where, well, this is the way, and then this particular crowd will reject now another crowd, which is kind of paradoxical for Aquarius, because Aquarius is the interconnectedness, and it's at the same time the separateness. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus and also by Saturn, and Saturn creates these boundaries. So it's interesting how these clusters of groups could be all in the same wavelength, and this is in another wavelength and another wavelength. So they might even go like, well, you're not the right wavelength, we don't like you. That will be also shadow. Why? Because the interconnectedness is all that is the acceptance of all that is, including that is not of our same wavelength. It's still there, and we can still love it. We can still have some appreciation for it. for those who are completely different and are doing their own thing. And yes, I'm going to say that includes those who are doing, I don't know, AI and whatever. So it's kind of paradoxical, because it's like I could judge it and say that's so bad, but in reality, it's more like it exists, and some people will have that experience, and they will be in that experience. Is that the experience I want for myself? Maybe not. And I would encourage people to actually live through the different kinds of experiential fields that this new paradigm shift is going to bring. I'm kind of excited to see that paradigm shift into this magnificent, more connected humanity, more truly connected humanity that brings back health, that brings back mental health, that brings back connection, that brings back the true meaning of being human, which is love, nurturing, abundance. This is like God-given, you know, it's everywhere. You see nature is perfect. It's a perfect network of everything working together. And when ecosystems are really healthy, everything has a place and everything works perfectly. It's when ecosystems are disrupted and there's too much hoarding or too much there, or there's too much disruption and imbalance, that's when things go like haywire. Here we are now in this time where we could go back to understanding the ways of nature, the cycles of nature, and how nature works, and seeing it and just embodying that. And if you are here listening to this, you are that person. And this is why I felt so compelled to say this. Watch things that inspire you and not depress you. See things that could go, okay, I can make a change. I can make a difference. I can make a difference in my own being. I can make a difference in the beings around me. And be inspired. And allow spirit to inspire you. This is me speaking from that beyond. So yes, astrology, and yes, beyond. There might be much more Pluto in Aquarius as the months go by, and as we see themes unfolding. I will come back to all these main themes that I talked about, and I will be giving more things. And also, your comments are really important to see how you view. Where's your current standpoint? Because yes, we're about to see this fast shifting, turning points in reality. And again, the mind that's speaking right now might not be the mind from later on. So I, take it with a grain of salt as well. Even astrology, who knows, maybe I'll transcend completely astrology at some point. But in the meantime, it's helpful. And if it's helpful to our being, to our well-being, then yes, please leave your comments below. Feel free to like and share this video, subscribe to the channel. That helps this information go beyond, and look up those little things I recommend if you can, because to me they have been like amazing. And that's also how we make this humanity more connected, is by sharing things that are really truly beneficial to ourselves with another, and they might also think, oh, this is beneficial to me as well, and then we just up our vibes all together. Thank you very much, and I will see you very soon in another video. Much love.